Okay, it's Sunday again, and we've got a game lined up. It's obviously different surroundings because I'm in a new flat. Obviously a bit smaller than the old one. So I'm currently building my own game board at the moment. So that's what it looks like, a big bit of MDF. We've got some of the old scenery, which is from Si's place. Si's obviously can have his own game board at his place. So he's still, I think it's in the post at the moment, isn't it? So. So there'll be two venues now, so you might see a bit of a variety in our scenery and that. But for now we're playing at mine. So it's a 3,000 point game, and it's Si's Ogres versus my Beastmen again. I fancied another crack at him, try and take that gut star out. We're playing Battle Line, and actually rolled for it and got a 1. So I'll run you through the army. It's quite similar to the one I had last time. So I've got 1 Razor Gore, a chariot, just a Tuskor chariot, 5 harpies, another Tuskor chariot, 40 Bestigor full command, 5 harpies, level 4 Great Brave Shaman with his level 4 shadows, a level 1 of shadow, that's the Hearthstone, 20 Gore, with just standard musician, and there's 2 level 1 of beasts in there, 7 minotaurs, just naked with a banner and musician, and Taurox the brass ball. Got 44 Gore with additional hand weapons, full command, and the War Gore Battle Standard Bearer with the beast banner, another Tuskor chariot, and another Razor Gore. And that's it. So enjoy with Si, see what he's got.
Yeah, my army is relatively unchanged from last time we played, one of my stock armies. So basically I have a Saber Tusk over in the far corner. I have another Saber Tusk. I have a Gutstar, which is 15 Iron Guts with basically BSB and Slaughtermaster, and a level 2 Butcher. The level 2 is Beasts, and the Slaughtermaster is of the Maw. I have a Iron Blaster, 10 Noblar Trappers, a unit of 3 Lead Belchers, another unit of 3 Lead Belchers, unit of 4 Mournfang. So for once I actually have a full unit of Mournfang. Now, at my own place, pay rise and all the good shenanigans, I'll be actually able to stop having to proxy bits of this army now. It's getting there. Then I'll have to bloody paint the whole lot. I've got another Iron Blaster there, a unit of 9 balls, fully painted unit, first time. Another unit of Noblar Trappers there, played admirably by Dwarves. And another Saber Tusk, who I've actually painted. So that's my army. It's about 3,000 on the nose. So I finished deploying last, so Ollie gets the +1. And we'll see you at the end of turn 1.
Okay, it's in a Beastman turn 1. Obviously quite a quick turn. Everything's just moved up, as you can see it. The harpies stay behind there. The reason they're in a line like that is just they kept them 6 away from the chariot should they get cannoned on the first turn. Obviously they've moved up now, so it doesn't matter because I went first. Everything's moved up, as you can see it. These guys have gone full tilt towards the Mournfang. They're not a fan of Mournfang, so they just decided to tear them up as soon as they can. And that was it. So these guys just moved up, making sure that all the wizards were still in 6 of the Hearthstone. Obviously get a +4 dice from the Hearthstone, but I still ended up rolling a 10 anyway. So a few of those were wasted. I seem to roll high magic phases when I got Hearthstone, which obviously defeats the advantage of it a lot of the time. It's pretty consistent as well. I pretty much always roll 7 or more for the power dice when I got Hearthstone. So. Which is bad because Si always has his maximum amount of dispel dice, so that's a bit of a shame. Right, so in the magic phase I started off with an enfeebling foe on the Iron Guts, which he let through. Just reduced their strength by 1. A Melkoff's Mystify Miasma on these guys, just the small ones, reduced their ballistic skill, so they're now ballistic skill 1. I then attempted a Pit of Shades. Unfortunately, I was out of range of the Gut Star, but I just casted the Lead Belchers. He dispelled that. And then I threw another Melkoff's from the level 1 at them as well, and he dispelled that as well. So that's the end of the magic. So not too bad, but could have been better. So obviously I would like to Pit Shades. That unit panicked off this entire flank, and yeah, that would have been better. But
won the game.
yeah, I won the game, ideally. But it didn't happen, so I'm going to have to rely on some kind of like strategy or something. So I'll have to see how that plays out. So that's the end of my turn 1.
Okay, it's the end of Ogre's turn 1. I shifted these guys across. I moved up my Noblars. These guys entered the building, although their effectiveness was not going to be very much considering their ballistic skill. These guys just edged back very slightly, and that was pretty much it. Other than swinging this kind of stuff about, and this did move forward. Magic phase, I rolled a 10, got no channels, but I just didn't see any point in trying to cast anything, because really I'm not getting attacked at the moment, and the only spell that's going to do damage to me, I don't get a saving throw against anyway. So I elected just to dispel his enfeebling foe, and then just leave it at that. So I ended the magic phase. Then I fired with these guys. Didn't get any hits. Fired with these guys. Got 2 hits, 2 wounds. Then shot with this. Basically, got 1 wound, which was just enough to. I hit 2 Minotaurs. Got 1 wound, which was enough to kill one of them. And then rolled 1 for the second. And then, as per expected, this misfired, and then I ended up, thankfully, rolling a 5 for the misfire chart, which was just lurch, hence why it's facing this weird direction. And that was it. That was basically it, really. So it's now on to Beastman turn 2.
Okay, so it's the end of Beastmen turn 2. Failing my 6 dice skilling on turn 1, I've resorted to some kind of strategy. So this is what I'm doing. I'm pushing everything forward. Yeah, it's going pretty well. So I charged the Tuscarora Chariot into some of the Noblars, reasoning that I'd rather take 1 dangerous terrain test than 45. So I thought it was a good idea. He made it in, passed his dangerous terrain test. Same happened with this one as well. Harpies jumped out from behind the building, hoping to add to the gumming up over here. These guys just moved up. He stayed back a bit just in case those Sabertuss try and sneak around, just to protect the Herdstone really. Same with this one over here. These guys just stayed within 6 of the Herdstone. This one obviously moved up a bit further to get in Pit of Shades range. And these guys were obviously limited by their movement by the chariot here. And the Minotaurs just went full tilt towards the Mournfang because they love Mournfang. So, and that was it for movement. And then in the magic phase, last time I was moaning about rolling too high. I rolled 1 higher than I did last time, so I negated all the bonus really from the Herdstone. But in that phase, I managed to get an enfeebling foe on the Mournfang, reducing their strength by 1, just in case the unforeseen happens. I got Melkoffs on these guys, but only reduced their ballistic skill by 1. That might help. Pit of Shades, I actually cast it, so I actually failed to dispel it, and it just scattered off, unfortunately. It was right on his BSB's head, but scattered off the full 6, so that was a shame. Much to Sai's relief. And then in close combat, he did 1 wound to me, and I killed 5 of his. He was steadfast, but he was only steadfast 4, and he failed it, and I caught him. So I just reformed the chariot. Then over here, I killed 4. He did none in return, but was in range of his general and BSB, so he held. So And that was it for close combat. So that's the end of my turn 2. So seems to be going all right so far. Yeah, so see what happens in Sly's turn 2.
Okay, it's the end of Ogre's turn 2. Basically, what happened was I moved these guys back. I charged the lead belchers at Torox's unit, and then charged the unit of ogres at the flank of the monitors. And I reformed the unit and swift reformed the unit and marched it across to get into the range of some buffs. The magic phase, I managed to get off Bull Gorger on the lead belchers, +1 strength, and then Toothcracker on the ogres to give them +1 toughness. So that was then Toothcracker. That was basically that. Then I went on to shooting phase where Ollie used his magic item, which basically nerfed
the Chalice of Dark Rain.
That's it. Yeah. So none of my cannons were able to fire as I needed a 4+, the unholy number that I never make, unless I really don't want it to.
Well, I suppose anything short of a 1+ is pretty impossible.
Yeah, especially with these dice. These dice remember me. They don't like me. So there was that, and then ballistic. Believe it or not, ballistics shooting, I still managed to get a hit on this thing, which was a wound with these guys, even though they needed 7s to hit. So 14 shots, 2 6s, and then re-roll them, and 1 4. So I actually managed to cunningly jib a wound off of that, and yeah, that was basically that for the shooting phase. Then in close combat, Torox and his boys tore up my lead belchers.
Killed 2.
Yeah. Leaving 1 left, who returned his attacks, but failed hit.
Yeah, the Torox tore them up, but the Minotaur's got 1 wound.
Yeah, they whiffed a bit, unfortunately.
And then 2 to those.
Yeah, and then I turned around and chopped up all of his Minotaurs. Got a further 8 wounds after doing 5 wounds from impact hits, which was rather nice. And
so I pretty much lost all my Minotaurs to no gain.
Yeah,
which is bad.
So
because my musician's got 1 wound left, I'm rallying on a double 1. So. Torox isn't coming back.
Yeah, so basically what I've got to do is I've desperately got to try and get anything out of his path so he doesn't risk breaking his ankle or something like that. That's what I want. Basically that's his general managed to run off. Ollie rolled a 10. I rolled a 9 and Ollie rolled a 9 and I only rolled a 5. Unfortunately, because this guy restrained, I didn't choose to chase him with that. I probably should have done, to be honest. The dude's basically just crunched in. So they're probably going to get attacked in a minute, which is fair enough. That was that. And pretty successful turn. Making a general run away, which is always good. So it's now on to the Beastmen turn 3. Okay, it's the end of Beastmen turn 3. As you can tell by my seated position, it's probably not going as well as it could be. I did quite a few charges. I charged my Razor Pig into his cat. He held. Same over here. This one charged into that Morky, and that one ran off. This chariot charged into his Iron Blaster. Chariot over here charged into his other Iron Blaster. These Harpies charged into the... when I charged the chariot into the back of the... Initially charged the chariot into the back of his bulls, and he fled.
So then I redirected into the Iron Blaster. So that's what happened there. The balls obviously bounced all the way through this lot and ended up in front of Taurox. Yeah. And then I charged them with the Harpies and actually caught them. And,
I rolled a 3.
Yeah, you rolled a 3 and I rolled a 19. So they were caught, which was a shame because they were right in front of Taurox, and I was hoping Taurox would then flee through them and the musician would roll a 1 and die, and then I could rally Taurox, but it wasn't to be. However, this is in the way now. I'll get back to that in a minute. It's all part of my cunning plan to rally my general. So that was one there. And then in the magic phase, I rolled another high 1, which rendered pretty much all the power dice from this pretty useless. So I got a Melkos on these guys, so reducing to ballistic skill 1. I put a Whiston's Wild Form on that chariot, which was an excellent idea as it turned out. I attempted to pit of shades on these guys, but I dispelled it by rolling really high. And that's pretty much it for the magic phase. Then in close combat, this piggy over here killed the Saber Tusk. Just about. Oh, sorry, these guys just moved up, as you can see them. I was actually at one too many Bray Shaman as well. I didn't actually have one of those level 1 of beasts. So I've taken that out. It didn't actually affect the game in the end because the extra power dice you got from that and the channeling didn't actually channel anything, and the extra power dice was rendered useless anyway by the high rolls, so they didn't actually have any bearing on the game. But yeah, apologies to Si for that one. What else happened? And this piggy killed. Well, he didn't kill the other side. He charged in the Saber Tusk in the flank. The Saber Tusk did a wound to him. He did nothing in return. I won because it was a flank. Failed to catch him, but he did run here, which means if Taurox flees again, hopefully it'll hit him, have to take a dangerous terrain test, and then hopefully it'll kill the musician, and then I can rally Taurox on an 8. So my cunning plan is slowly coming together now. I'm going to surrender about 500 points to try and rally my general, who shouldn't have been running off in the first place. This chariot charged in here, he did a wound to me, I did nothing in return to him, even though I did 6 impact hits. Did no wounds at all. But it ended up being a draw, because it's obviously 1 wound to a charge. Then here is a real success story. I charged the chariot in, obviously from the redirection. So he'd caused the balls to flee, which was victory in itself, I think. Although a chariot in the back probably would have sorted that unit out quite nicely. So I chose to flee, so I redirected, passed that. Went straight into the Iron Blaster, passed my Primal Fury. So I whiffed, did nothing to me. Obviously with the Whiston's on, I was strength 6 impact hits, and with the Gore became strength 5, as did the Tuskals. The Besticle was strength 7. So I actually did 7 wounds in total, 5 wounds in total, which is exactly enough to kill the Iron Blaster. So obviously because I destroyed the unit, I then overrun into the Warnfang, which is going to hold them up. Not going to last very long, but maybe I can hurt them a little bit, but holding them up is fine with me. So that's one gone really well. That was an 80-point chariot that's scared off some balls and killed an Iron Blaster.
170-point Iron Blaster.
Yeah, and then held up some Warnfang. So that guy's just made man of the match even before this game ends. But yeah, I'm really happy I cast that Whiston's Wild Form on him. It was a bit of a punt at the time, but worked out alright. So happy about that. And that was pretty much it, really. So yeah. So a bit worried about this Gutstar ambush. I didn't actually foresee them turning around like that and just coming this way. So my Besticle are horrendously out of position, but yeah, we'll have to see what happens. So that's the end of Beastmen turn 3.
Okay, it's the end of a rather crazy turn 4. And I say crazy because of the thing that, well, has just transpired. I moved these guys around. I charged the remaining lead belcher in that unit at the Harpies. Everyone else, just those 2 Saber Tusks, bizarrely, rallied and reformed and got out of the way of the Scarper in general.
Bastard.
And yeah, basically, in revenge, this chariot absolutely owned me. I mean, it fluffed its one impact hit, but then it all went its way after that. I mean, I did one wound with, was it 12 Mournfang attacks? So that Wissons was just basically just enough to not allow me to do any more wounds. One, because I rolled terribly. And then with, was it 10 ogre attacks as well, I rolled a couple of 4s, but no 5s. And yeah, so it's still resolutely sat there, and then it did me 2 wounds and won the combat, forcing me to use my bloody BSB reroll, which I was shitting myself about. So yeah, I mean, this one chariot worth 80 bloody points has wrecked through an absolute ton of stuff.
It's always taken out the flank.
It's just these dice are. I mean, these really need burning in some fire of hell, because these are the worst dice I think I've ever had to play with. They're so bad. But yeah, it was quite amusing. I just to see that happen. I managed to get troll guts off on the unit, which naturally made no difference because I failed pretty much all the regen saves I had to make. Yeah, so that was pretty much it. So that was it was a bit of a crazy turn in that 2 useless bloody chaff units with the lowest leadership practically in the game managed to come back. Yet over here, I managed to fluff with one of the most powerful units in the bloody army. So yeah, this is. I'm starting to think I should just take Mournfang out and just take another bloody unit of Iron Guards, because they ain't doing me any favours. Yeah. So after that, devastatingly bad performance. It's pretty much. I moved the other lead belchers out. So yeah, it's now time for Beastmen turn 5.
Okay, it's the end of Beastmen turn 4. And I made a charge, and I passed my charge. I made an average charge, and I made it. It was amazing. It was the happiest day of my life. Well, relatively speaking, as far as the game goes. Yeah, so I made a charge. I don't know if I mentioned that. Okay, so elected not to charge with these guys into those, so I'd like to get rid of them and get these guys into the battle. I didn't want him to flee and then fail a charge, because then I wouldn't be able to cast my level 4, who's since moved out into this unit, which was a really good call. Other charges, I charged the chariot into one of the saber tusks he held, because if it had fled, it would have fled through the other saber tusk, panicked him. Well, maybe not, because he keeps making 4-up leaderships like a boss. And then the Razor Pig charged into the other one. These guys failed to rally. These harpies failed to rally. This pig moved up, and these harpies just moved up behind there. They couldn't quite fit in the gap and do some redirecting, so that was a shame. So that was pretty much it for movement. Then in the magic phase, I rolled a 7, which was good. So 5 to Sai and 10 to me. Like a genius, I picked up 6 of these dice, and I picked up my Windrazor card. And then I rolled those 6 dice and rolled really high, got a miscast, and got it through. Yay! What a great strategy. So he got a 5, just blew up some gore, did a wound to himself. Lost the rest of the power dice, but got Moonrazer off on the unit that passed its charge. So that was obviously going to go well. In the other combats, this chariot murdered the Saber Tusk as roadkill and failed to overrun as the other one. The other one is sitting on its own because it killed the Razor Gore. Razor Gore already had 1 wound on him since the last time he fought it. Or maybe the other one, I don't know. Charged into him again, and the Saber Tusk killed him before he got to swing. So that was terrible. And obviously, Taurox is still running, and now he's got Saber Tusk and charging in the rear because that chariot failed actually hitting it. So This Razor Pig moved up. Oh, sorry, I've already done movement. So in close combat, that was all for close combat. And then in this combat, obviously these guys charged in. I failed my Primal Fury test, but I had a BSB there, so I rerolled it and passed it. And I killed 6 Iron Guts and did 2 wounds to another one, so 7 dead in total, because one had taken a wound from a Grutzicle. So 7 dead Iron Guts, lovely. And in return, he killed 8 guys, which was an excellent trade. I was more than happy with that. And obviously I won the combat, but he revealed he had the Crown of Command, which is pretty standard. So I was expecting that. But
Which wasn't much of a surprise.
no, it's pretty, you know, you see a Gut Star, it's because it's got Crown of Command in, so, which is fair enough. So, yeah, so I'm pretty happy now, and we're going to have another round of Mind Razoring. So, yeah, I'm hoping to chew them out. So, lovely. And that was pretty much the end of my turn 4. So if I can hold on for 2 more turns, he might be alright. If my BSB, my general doesn't run off the board in 2 turns, I'll be alright. But it's been a pretty weird game so far, so anything could happen. So I have to see what happens in size turn 4.
Okay, I charged the Mournfang Cavalry in. As you can see, it didn't go so well. The magic phase essentially... Well, I charged with the Saber Tusk over there, caught his general, wiped it out. I then charged my Iron Blaster at his chariot, which turned to flee, fled through the Saber Tusk, failing his dangerous terrain test and taking 5 wounds, excuse me, wiping it out. Then over here, the magic phase, I got, I think I got 7 dice in total. Unfortunately, tried to 6 dice a blanket Troll Guts, but it wasn't to be. Ollie had his Dispel Scroll and scrolled it, and that basically allowed him to then get free reign and absolutely rip to pieces my my unit. He only managed to do he only managed to kill 3 ogres this time around here, but he wiped out the entirety of my he wiped out like everything in my Mournfang unit, which was really nasty, because unfortunately I had the banner that would have allowed them to at least get some attacks against them. Wasn't to be. It was very nasty indeed. So yeah, unfortunately, things are going bad. So this is basically the only thing that could potentially keep me in the game. So essentially, the fight is going to be boiled down to what's going to happen over here. So yeah, we will go on to Beastmen turn 5.
Okay, it's the end of Beastmen turn 5. And yeah, it went pretty well. So yeah, so we kind of run through it quite quickly. I chose the best score into his lead belchers, hoping they would actually do something. Of course he fled, there was no point in holding. So he fled through the building and I just failed the charge. And I failed to rally the Razor Gore. That's pretty much it. And then I did the magic phase, rolled a 5 I think, yeah, 4 for him, 5 for me. And then obviously with extra dice and I got a channel. I managed to skillfully cast another Mind Razor. And thankfully, although I got a miscast, I rolled ridiculously high, but unfortunately it was 2 6s, so it was a miscast. I rolled for it, and obviously only had 1 wound left, because he's nasty old lead belcher. Well, he didn't actually try to assassinate me at the time, but he was in combat with me, hoping to do so. So I only had 2 wounds, I think, so I already had a wound on me. So I was a bit afraid of the miscast, but the miscast actually turned out to be a power drain, so it drove me down to level 1, which was fine. I lost the rest of my power dice, but did get the Mind Razor off, which was excellent. So that was in the magic phase. And then I just tore him up. I killed exactly the rest of the unit, and with the other guys in contact with the Slaughtermaster, I actually did 2 wounds to him, even though I needed 6s to hit him. So I managed to pass my Primal Fury again. So yeah, so that went really well. So he's only got 3 characters left. in that combat, and the lone lead belcher charged in, did a wound to the wizard. Unfortunately, couldn't target with his stomp, so
he got scared off by the toot of a horn.
Yeah. The lead belcher actually did really well because he did a wound. I did nothing to him. I only had one wound left. And he, because he's charged and all that, and the wounds he did, he killed another guy from the impact hits. So it was actually a draw, but because I had a horn, I blew it and it frightened him off. And then I ran him down by rolling a double 6. So yeah, he died, and that was pretty much it. So I think Si's ready to give up at this point.
It's basically the end, because there's no way.
Basically, there's another turn of this, and
Locken's Mind Razor. Which...
I've still got Mind Razor on, so 3 characters not going to last very long against that.
No,
Strength 9 because they're
chopped up.
8 from the BSP who's in there because they use his leadership, and then they get +1 for strength. But even if it is just 8 or 7 or whatever, it's just going to chew them up anyway. So
it's enough, and then basically that's at least 2,700 victory points.
Yeah, yeah. He got a fair chunk of mine though with his Sabotage, who managed to kill. Well, obviously not on his own, but he managed to mop up the points for my general, all the Minotaurs, and a random chariot that decided to run him over. So yeah, I hate that Sabotage. Oh, and he killed a pig as well. So they got racked up about 1,000 points and passed a break test, a rally test on leadership 4. So he's my man of the match. Yeah, so well, it was a really fun game actually. I was very happy to get Mind Razor. Not the most skilled thing in the world to do, but it's the first time I've ever really done it with any big effect. So I was very happy to do it. Not keen on spamming it all the time, so might take a different lore next time. Probably won't be Lore of the Wild though. I'm still yet to be convinced that's any good. But overall, very happy with the game. I thought I had it was pretty well covered. I was just going to gun it towards these lines, take out the Mornfang, just chew this lot up and ignore the Gutstar. What I wasn't expecting was into reform the Gutstar and just march around here, which kind of caught my Bestigor off guard and ended up being completely useless to this game. They didn't do anything. Which is a real shame because I spent ages sticking those together. So yeah, so I thought I had it in the, I thought it was a pretty good setup, but so duped me, so that was a problem. But in the end, what I didn't account for was my hero chariot. That chariot probably was the cause of the win for this game, not the Mind Razor. That was just a means to an end, but that chariot just really messed him up.
Yeah, that chariot actually did, because...
Yeah. So I'm going to give us kind of joint man of the match between the guy who cast the Whistler's Wildfire on it, which made the difference. Just the level 1 over there. Had the Chalice of Dark Rain as well, which stopped 2 cannons firing. And that chariot as well. So those two combined just messed him up.
Yeah,
totally.
Because the chariot stopped me from getting across to here, which would have allowed these guys to actually be in and properly formed into their horde. Because obviously, you got to think.
Yeah, if that was a horde, then totally
that's like a non-horde situation, and it still did. I mean, we didn't even bother with any of the attacks from these guys, just from this lot, just because there was no point.
But that's the thing with this. I mean, even if I was Occam's, I would have killed a lot of his guys. But then in the counter attack, he would have killed so many of mine. The next turn would have been a pretty rubbish one, really. Yeah,
because then I would have been able to have chop you down. Probably would have lost most of the unit, but then it would have been easier for me to
you could have easily mopped these up,
dance around him, and feed him some lower cost units, and then I basically
then I would have to use the Bestigor to get over there, which was tricky because there was a lot of chaff flowing around here. He only tries the lead belcher in the end just for something to do. So I think, well, I mean, it went really well. It was pretty lucky on my part in terms of the chariot. And I think one mistake that I did make for me was fleeing with that unit of balls. It was kind of...
you see, hindsight is always obviously 100% accurate.
I think if you'd left it there and I charged in, you would have been a lot closer for your counter charge. You could have charged in with the Iron Guts and the Mornfang.
I think probably what would have happened is I would have killed the chariot, because I could have had up to 9 attacks on that chariot. I probably could, or I would have at least done some heavy damage to the chariot, and then I probably would have kill quite a few of these guys as well. And then, like you say,
it would have put a dent. Any dent in these guys is going to yield profit for you in the big combat.
Because then obviously I'd have the potential of the Mournfang coming in, and then but you see, my kind of idea was that I wanted to flee with them, get them out of there. I must admit, I'd figured that so long as I rolled like average or above, I was all right for the flee distance, because I probably wasn't going off the board. I then could have rallied the next turn because the guys were there, so I would have been in range of my BSB, and I would have had that opportunity then to then be able to work an assault on this flank, which, as it happened, I didn't need. Because,
well, to be fair, I mean, even if you did go over there, what are you going to fight? You're going to fight Besticle. Besticle would have torn them up. So,
yeah, I mean,
I think you kind of needed to sacrifice it.
I should have.
Because in the end, you just lost it anyway. So.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of. I wanted to try and combat the sort of stuff over there, and make sure it wasn't swinging around back to my arse.
That's true, but I mean, you kind of used my own plan against me and concentrated on one of my flanks, probably the weaker one, especially after my general died. You know, you just want to avoid the Besticle at that point.
Yeah, I think that probably was the tipping point, because I think had I made a mess of them and made a mess of the chariot, I think then obviously there would have been a lot less there to do stuff.
Because to make the most of your guts, I had to get back into a horde. But because
that was what the chariot stopped me from doing, because the idea was that I would have shuffled across.
Because if it wasn't for the chariot, you could have got these into, even if they weren't in horde, they could have gone in with the Mournfang as well. Because the chariot survived so bloody long and got into the Mournfang and held it up. It's just nasty. So that chariot was definitely man of the match for me.
Yeah, man.
Dummies really were the Besticle, just didn't do anything. It's not really their fault. It just they got tricked.
I think for my man of the match is that Sabotage.
Yeah, Sabotage.
It was an absolute legend.
It was just Johnny on the spot. He didn't even take a wound. Hate that guy. My chaff performed pretty well. Actually, the Harpies didn't do anything really. In fact, none did the Razor Gore. In fact, the Razor Gore over there was horrendous when it actually charged that guy, failed to wound it, chased him off, failed to catch him, charged him again, got killed by him. It was a separate. Oh no, it was the same guy.
No, I think it was the same guy.
Yeah, humiliation.
Legendary.
So that Razor Gore over there was terrible. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure I won. Maybe we should add it up actually.
Oh man, no.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
Literally, with those gone, you've got 126, 170. So that's like 396, 397, 417.
Yeah, okay. Well, that unit alone is probably like 500.
Well, bear in mind, there's my general in there as well. You got like 3,000 minus 417 plus 100, so that's about 2,700 VPs.
Alright, yeah. So Beastmen win. A really enjoyable game actually. I liked casting that Mind Razor. It really. Well, in fact, that wasn't excitement. What excited me wasn't a charge. I went an average charge into combat with a combat army. It was amazing. And I don't think apart from this, when fighting this lone lead belcher, I felt no primal frenzy tests.
Yeah, that's very true.
Even a lot of the time without rerolls either.
Because a failure of the primal fury there would have
would have been nasty.
Because that would have given me the chance I needed. But
so excellent. I'm very happy, and I'm going to hand you over to Si now, see what he thinks. But yeah, very satisfying win. I finally kicked that Gutstar's ass, and yeah, so. Brilliant, love Beastmen.
Yeah, I think the major trouble I have with dealing with Beastmen is Ollie's control of the magic phase, because it is exceptionally dominant. Even though he whinges that, oh no, I only got 12 dice, it does essentially mean that he can still guarantee getting a spell off. Obviously, I've not opted for the cheesy Hellheart, which against this army in particular is is, as we saw once before, is basically auto win, because I just run like a muppet at his Herdstone, detonate that in his magic phase, and as long as I roll more than a 1, I've essentially won the game. But yeah, it's hard to, very, very hard to deal with it, because Ollie had some very good magic phases, which allowed him at least some measure of control. But I think it was mainly just the 6 diced Occams, which, quite frankly, you know, any bugger can do. And it's the fact that he miscast it twice is the harsh thing, because at least if he hadn't miscast it, I had the chance of getting around it. But yeah, the miscast was always harsh. It's kind of
there's very little consequences to even miscast as well.
Well, that's it. It's sort of reminiscent of the days when I'd be miscasting bloody dreaded 13th with no effect on me to get rid of his unit of Chaos Chosen. So yeah, it's harsh because like 2 Mind Razors in a row is enough to decimate like absolutely anything, and especially him passing all of his Primal Fury checks was pretty nasty, because I really could have done with that. And plus the quite nice way that the combat was able to align meant that I couldn't actually target any of his juicy characters, because yeah, you know, it would have been lovely to make way and chop up his BSB with like my dude, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. So yeah, I think I needed a horde, and like I said before, just the chariot being able to stop me from moving in that crucial turn before the charge was, I think, what did it for Ollie. Because, like I say, I could have moved these guys around, reformed, and then I would have been in the perfect situation to sort of fight, and that would have been happy days for me. But yeah, unfortunately, at the moment, all my Warhammer stuff is sort of locked away in a box somewhere. So I've got to dig a few things out. I need to get a few Iron Blasters for this army, as I'm getting a bit sick and tired of proxying it. But I think I've pretty much got the entire army now, other than I think I probably need a few Noblars and some Saber Tusks. So I just have to see what eBay can dredge up for me. But yeah, other than that, it was a good win. Sucked that it was too kind of, well, sucked a little for me, definitely not for Ollie, because I know that feel, and I know the feel is good. When you
so nice.
six dice Mind Razor for the win, and yeah, just like rolling your face across the keyboard. But
yeah, but when it's the kids of guts, though, you don't mind.
Well, I've got to at least console myself with just the fact that it wasn't Dark Elves, because that would have been uber cheesy. But yeah, this was just a slight cheesy hint.
I've tasted victory and I like it.
Yeah, like I say, I think if had this gut star been a horde, I think things would have been different. I think so as well. I think I could have probably
would have taken a big chunk out of you, but you would have killed so many that the next round of combat would have been a lot.
Yeah, and I think yeah, I win the combat. I could have then avoided your units for the rest of the game, and that would have been then a hell of a lot closer. Because then it would have been whatever the cost of that unit plus your general. I think we might have been fighting for a draw. Because bear in mind, I mean, you had, that's a good half my army there. So you know,
well, my Minotaurs are about 800 points. So.
Yeah,
with Tauroxes.
Yeah, and that's what, a couple of 100 points, isn't it? That unit of gore plus your BSB. So
I know I'd rather have.
Yeah, man. So it was, it was good. I mean, that was like Ollie said. I should have just sacrificed them for the greater good and just eaten it up. And like, you know, mauled them a bit, mauled the chariot, and then had these guys in horde formation. And then, yeah, like I say, things probably would have been a bit different. But, yeah, overall, it was a good game. My magic phases weren't so great.
Great. Do you want dinner room, mate?
Sorry?
Do you want dinner room?
No, I've got dinner being cooked at my place.
Oh,
unfortunately, thanks. So yeah, we'll have a see as to what can happen next week, because that will be round mine with my lovely Realm of Battle gaming table. So yeah, it'll be all over that. So we'll see you next week.